my wonderful friend called Dukka. And we called him Dukka because we used to have a female German Shepherd, and my parents gave her the name, well, I think the previous owner gave her the name Dukka. Dukka, I used to think meant Duke, but actually it's Italian for, I think it's Duchess. I think Dulce is Duke. Anyway, the name stuck. He was the most wonderful, greatest dog. He was my real friend. And I was his mom and dad and his master. In fact, I used to call him my son. And you know, when in English sometimes when you say my son, it doesn't really mean my son. But funnily enough, he was my baby, my little baby. I'd often call him Dukan, my son, when when I was happy or excited. He realized that I was excited or happy, and he would wag his tail and kind of smile and jump around. The first day I took him home, he was tiny. He was so tiny, so cute. And I took him back on the train. It was just so nice having him on my lap. Little warm animal, little baby, so nice. At night time, he would cry out for his mum. You know, he would whine. You know, I think I couldn't really take it. It was only one night, you know, and then I know people say you're supposed to just leave them, let them cry for a few days, and then, you know, they'll get used to the idea. But I couldn't do that. So what I did is I let him sleep beside the bed, and I used to put my hand on him. So if he woke up, he would know that there's somebody there. He would feel the warmth of my hand, because he'd been close to his mother and brothers or sisters for 6 weeks, and you know, to take him away from that and then just put him in a cold kennel, I think it's cold, you know, it's a bit cruel. So I would put my hand on top of him. So in the nighttime when he used to whine, you know, and cry, I would stroke his back, and then he would go back to sleep again. So at least he knew, he felt something warm on top of him, and you know, he would go back to sleep. He would leave puddles of pee and chunks of poo on the carpet, and you know, I didn't really like that part of, you know, his growing up. Potty training, I didn't like that. But not potty training, toilet training, you know, that was not nice, but something that you have to go through. I remember at around 6 months, one of his ears flopped like this, and so what I did is I taped his ear straight with a lollipop stick. I taped it round with a lollipop stick to make sure it stood, you know, upright. His other ear, you know, was standing to attention. It was really stiff and, you know, like a proper ear. But this other ear was just bent. It looked funny. The lollipop stick, you know, it would fall off all the time, but I would stick it back on again, you know, in an attempt to straighten the, you know, the floppy ear. And it did seem to work anyway. I used to take him to Hampstead Heath, and he used to really love, you know, going to that park, the Heath. There was a lake there where I used to get a small ball and throw the ball into the lake, and he used to love launching himself into the lake and splashing into the water and, you know, getting the ball back for me. He used to love that. So I had some really good memories of him. Really good memories. Yeah, I feel he was my best friend. and, you know, really faithful. You know, he wouldn't let anybody, you know, come near me. You know, he was very protective, unbelievably protective of me. So, yeah, that's why he's the best dog. You know, I say best dog in the world. Definitely the best dog in my world. You know, in my life, in my world, he was the best. You know. And that's why I found it very hard to replace him. When he passed away, I found it difficult to buy another dog. It's as if I was replacing him. Look, I was. But I can never replace Dukka. There's only one Dukka. I used to feel so safe when I was walking him, taking him for a walk. I would get no trouble, you know, because he was big and a mean dog. Mean looking anyway. He just looked bad. But although he looked bad, he wasn't, I don't think he was so bad. Maybe because I'm so used to him. And and so I didn't realize how bad he was. I mean, he was okay with me, but I remember some friends that used to come to the house that used to be scared and didn't want to go anywhere near him, or didn't want him to go anywhere near them. So yeah, he must have been scary. I remember one time I had to go to Italy and spend 6 months in Italy, about 6 months. And then when I came back, he didn't recognize me. I took him for a walk and he snarled his teeth at me. And then I got really angry with him. I said, "No, Dukka, no." And that's when he realized, yeah, it's me. You know, I'm his master, I'm his dad. He was kind of confused because for 6 months, my dad used to take him out. My dad got angry also afterwards because he said, you know, after the 6 months, you know, he was friendly with him. And then what happened was when I came back home, then I was his master again. And so, you know, he started snarling his teeth at my dad. And so he was really pissed off about that. He was a bit upset. He said, "I took him out for 6 months and, you know, and now you arrive, he starts treating me bad." I think he was a one owner dog. You know, he only had one owner, you know, one master. When he was about 10 years of age, I couldn't handle him anymore. I became depressed and I just couldn't handle him anymore. I couldn't look after him. I could just about look after myself. My parents were in Italy at the time and I just couldn't handle life. You know, just basic things. You know, sometimes even his panting would make me nervous. You know, having to take him out, having to feed him, buy him food. But the taking him out would upset me because I couldn't do it anymore. And so I sent him to Battersea Dogs Home, which is a place where you can put your dog or cat up for adoption. And then a family will, you know, adopt your dog or your cat. And so this is what I thought. You know, I was quite naive, you know, very naive. I was in trouble, you know, I was depressed and I knew of the Battersea Dogs Home. I knew that you can go there and, you know, for a cheap price, you can buy a dog that, you know, adopt a dog that, you know, needed a home, needed a good home. And, you know, I thought, okay, it's better that he goes with a good family, somebody that can look after him, that will love him, and then he can love them. You know, it was difficult, but I just couldn't look after him anymore. So I made this painful decision and let him go. I signed the papers, and then what happened? 2 weeks later, I wanted to go back and just have a look at my dog, see if they found a home for him, a loving home, somebody that could care for him, so somewhere he'd be happy. Sometimes I think what an idiot I was. And they took me into a small room and they explained to me basically that they put him down, they killed him. And I said to them, why? Why did you do this? I was shocked. I was angry. And basically, when I signed the papers, I didn't read the small print. I think, I'm sure in the small print it says if the dog becomes violent, they'll put him down, or aggressive, they'll put him down. And this is what happened. Because he was a 10-year-old dog, he's an old dog. He didn't want to take any orders from other people. And he was okay. It's just that when it came to food time, he would growl and he would show his teeth. And he was a big dog. Because of that, they put him down. Because, he wouldn't be suitable for rehousing. I could understand them, but I was so angry. And to be honest, for many years, I've blamed myself because he was my best friend. And this is what I did to him. I left him with these people and these people killed him. Well, they gave him a lethal injection. So, I always blame myself because he loved me. He loved me like a dad, like a friend, and I think, wow, and this is what I did to him. I gave him to people that eventually killed him. That's a fact. I can't run away from this fact. Obviously I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to give him to someone and then, them having to give him a lethal injection. I had some, and I said to the lady, why didn't you contact me? I would have taken him back. And then she said something like, well, you signed the papers and, he was our responsibility. We're very sorry about that. I didn't know what to do. I walked away. I left and I just felt so sad. So, so sad. My best friend, I just wanted the best for him and I couldn't give the best anymore. With this bloody depression that I had, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know about medication. I was just in a terrible place. I just wanted to stay in bed all the time. I didn't want to wake up. I felt like it was the end of the world. And I just wanted my dog to be happy. Even if it wasn't with me, I just wanted him to be happy. He had no choice in this. He couldn't do anything. I was the one who made the decision, and I'm the person responsible. I was, as I said, naive, silly to think that he wouldn't get upset with them, he wouldn't growl at them, and then if that did happen, what would they do? They would put him down. I was like a child. I didn't think about these things. I just thought, oh, he's going to go into a nice home, a nice family. People are going to love him. And, I feel so sad. So sad that he had to die and it was my fault. He didn't have to die. He didn't have to be put down if he stayed with me. Yeah, so I've always blamed myself, because I feel he would have done anything for me. He would have died for me. And yet I gave him away and within 2 weeks he was dead because I couldn't, it was like my son, and it's like a parent giving away a child and then within 2 weeks that child is dead because the parent couldn't handle it, couldn't look after the child anymore. Of course, it's not like a child, but almost. he was, at the time, he was my best friend. I didn't have any children. So at the time, he was everything for me. Because he was everything for me, I wanted him to be happy. Because I didn't know where I was going. I was going down a hole, a hole, and it was getting worse. I didn't want him to go down with me. I wanted to save him. Wanted him to be happy with another family. And I was so stupid. I didn't think that he would become aggressive, and then they'd have to take those measures, to. Anyway, that's the story of my loving dog, Dukka. I just want to remember the good times. He was a fantastic dog, and I haven't bought another German Shepherd because I felt it wasn't the right time, and I felt that I'd be kind of replacing him. He's irreplaceable, and I think now is the right time to buy a little puppy, and give my love to another little doggy again.